Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to episode number 8 of the Real Estate Playbook. According to Ann, that's a lucky number, so I'm going to take that as good luck right up top here. My guest today, as I just mentioned, is Miss Ann Carlson, a legend in her own right. I could say many things about Ann, but what would you say about yourself, Ann?
Oh, wow. I've been super lucky and I work really hard. How's that?
That works too. It's what do they say? It's like 90% hard work, the rest is luck, or
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So, Ann, you and I know each other pretty well. Thank you so much for making the time to do this podcast today. I know you're pretty busy. For the people that don't know you as well as I do, could you talk a little bit about your background, kind of how you got your start in real estate, and maybe what got you to where you are today?
Yeah. So I had a little bit of a crisis in my life and 15 years ago. And I had a 10-year-old that I had to feed and house. So I thought, what can I do that I can still take her to school and pick her up from school, but work full time and make some money. Although I had no idea what I was getting into, which nobody does. I thought I can open a door, I can show a house, but really it's a lot more than that. There's a lot of liabilities and all that. But that was the motivation to put food on the table back in the day.
Oh, yeah. Now, you were a flight attendant before real
Yep.
estate, is that right?
Yeah, for 18 years. So I flew around this crazy world and had a blast. And then, ended up having a child, and you can't really do that anymore. I was living in New York City, so it was pretty crazy. And there's a lot of things we can't talk about back then. But
Yeah, I think you told me one or two stories that
yeah,
probably are safer off of the air,
yeah,
right?
safe. Yeah, yeah.
Now, comparatively speaking, would you say real estate is as exciting as being a flight attendant, or?
Oh no, no, there's nothing exciting about real estate, to be honest with you, except
Oh boy.
you can make a lot of money, but you're held accountable for absolutely everything, for everything you ever do with your client, for every person you refer to your client. You can be sued at any time. I mean, it's very scary, and you just have to learn not to talk too much. And most people are talkers, so you have to be very careful that you don't talk about things you don't really know about. You don't talk about
That's
the law.
true.
You don't talk about, you just stay in your lane, kind of thing. But be as honest and as positive as you can.
Absolutely. So, how many years has it been now that you've been in real estate?
I think I'm in my 15th year now, which just
Ooh,
flew by. The first year it seems like forever, and then you start to kind of get on a roll, and you start to learn your stuff, and then you're more confident and people trust you more. And people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And so once they trust you, then they refer you to their friends and their family, or they use you again for multiple situations. You're not going to like every client is not going to like you. So if something goes wrong in the deal, you're going to get blamed, whether it was title's fault or the lender's fault. It will always be your fault, and those people probably won't refer you. And you just have to kind of bite the bullet and move on to the people that do love you and trust you.
that old limerick. Well, I don't know if you would call it a limerick, but "Don't shoot the messenger" comes up a lot, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. You almost have to call them with, okay, don't shoot the messenger, but here's the news I just got. And they're just going to be mad. And sometimes, they're not really on their medication in the morning, or it wears off at night. A lot of that happens.
They
And
didn't have their coffee yet, or something.
yeah, it can be really ugly, and you have to have a very thick skin. And some days you just don't have the thick skin, and you're just going to cry and realize I didn't really do anything. They're kind of nuts. But
Yeah. So, I think at least if it was me, I would probably try to not take things very
yeah,
personally, right? Like you're saying with thick skin.
100%. It's hard not to, because if you are giving 100% and you're still not good enough for them, it's just, you can't do anything about it. And you're right, you just can't take it personally, and you have to sit back and look at it and go, did I really do anything wrong? Because if you really screwed up, you need to apologize, you need to make it right. It can happen, we all make mistakes. And actually, if you just make it right and apologize, it goes a really long way, instead of being defensive.
That's true. That's true. So, speaking of your experiences, Anne, for the people out there that may not know this about you, some people might call you an expert in real estate, probably because you literally wrote the book on it.
Good.
That's good, right?
Yeah.
I had that one written down. I was like, let me make sure I get that one out. Um, so I know you got to talk about it a little bit. You were on, well, you've been on several times, but you were on ABC's Morning Blend once with you and I, and then once a couple years ago with Joe, and you got to talk about the book a little bit.
Yeah.
But for people who didn't get to see that, or maybe they haven't gotten a chance to check out the book, what would you say is the bulk of what's in there?
So for new agents, especially, I don't think that they like, and I didn't either, but I don't think that they understand the back office part of it. Like, yes, you're going to be a salesperson, you're going to be nice, you're going to open the door, you're going to, create a relationship with these buyers or sellers. But what really happens behind the doors? What kind of money do you have to put up front? How long do you have to wait for your money? What you're really dealing with, safety factors. Do you really put yourself out there for harm? Do you do open houses? All these things that are coming from myself, another really good friend of mine, another realtor, and a broker, and we all kind of put our piece into the what the back end is. And maybe they may not believe all of that, but at least they'll have a heads up. Oh, this is really what happens behind the closed doors.
Yeah, so it's things that people might not realize
Yeah.
are happening, going on in this job that
Yeah.
are crucial to know before you get in, so you're not kind of head above water, treading water sort of thing, right?
Yeah, it looks so easy. I mean, it really looks so easy. Like, oh, I just get my this key and I just look it up and I just, especially
Open
in this
doors, like you said.
oh yeah. I mean, it's like I look pretty, open a door, and I'm sold. Well, that is not how it works. And you could almost wait, maybe not in this market, but back then it was all short sales. You could wait 6 months before you got a paycheck. So if you need a steady stream of income, this may not be the job for them. But
Yeah,
if they
that's
have,
true.
if they have a husband or wife that has a full-time job with insurance and they can do this when they can, it's very difficult to be a good part-time realtor.
That's true. I think it takes a lot of commitment and time. Obviously, I can't really speak to that because I'm not an agent, but just from
Yeah.
the people I've talked to, that seems to be the
It's
case.
24 hours. It's 24 hours, 7 days a week. It just is.
Hmm.
And then if you go on vacation, your business doubles because you come back and you're just overwhelmed because everybody wanted you when you're on vacation. I don't know how the world gets it together like that, but that's what happens.
I forget who said this, but one of our agents said recently, it's like my phone never rings until I take a couple days off, and then suddenly.
Yeah. And then everybody knows for some reason, and
Hmm.
then they all call you and you're like, I just wanted like 3 days off, but it
Hmm.
doesn't happen like that.
And sipping Mai Tais by the pool. Let me call her real
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah, right. And don't answer the phone if you've had too much to drink. That's the other.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
So the book is called "So You Think You Want to Be a Real Estate Agent." So that's pretty much what's in there. Now, have you had anybody that you've spoken to that maybe got a chance to read the book and has been able to like give you their feedback on it at all?
Yeah, I've actually had some realtors read it, and they're like, "Wow, once you kind of are more into it, you go, I didn't think about that, or that can really happen, or I have a lot of realtor friends, and so some of them are new, some are just new and flipping, some are trying to really be successful in the business, and they're like, it's a real quick read. I mean, it's a bathroom book. You just take it in there, you're good. But it does have a lot of useful information. It's not expensive, and I think I have had great feedback from the book. So thank you.
That's good to hear. So I think that's good. We have, some, or I presume we have some newer agents out there listening. So I think that's a good, like you said, it's a quick read. Go
Yeah.
check it out. Ann's been in the business, like she said, 15 years. So it's not, somebody that's relatively new to the game for trying to pretend like they know what they're talking about. She
Yeah.
does know what she's talking about. So definitely go check that out. I'll put the link down in the description and everything if people want to go read that. Is there like an ebook version or anything in, or is it just
Yeah.
a paperback?
It's an ebook. I don't know if Amazon has the ebook or not, but I'll check and get back to you.
Okay. Yeah, don't worry about it. I'll get all that information,
Thank
put it in the link and whatnot. So moving on, fast forwarding to like present day, you touched on this sort of about how crazy the market is right now, and we've been trying to get everybody's opinion and take on how it's affecting their business. So obviously, as we've touched on in previous episodes, it's insane market right now, not just in Florida, but nationwide. It's not really showing any signs of slowing down, at least from what I can tell, what I've heard from realtors and our brokers. So could you speak to at all, Ann, how the current market conditions may be affecting your business?
Well, if you can get the listings, that's really the way to go because having buyers, and I'm FaceTiming, my buyers are from Washington State and other states, and we put in 10 offers, and we never, we're up against cash offers, we're up against people that are willing to pay a huge gap between the appraisal and the contract price. And so they're really not very happy right now. What can you do? I mean, so every house that fits like their criteria, they have 3 children. Um, it, it's really hard. And so if you can get the listings, it's a lot easier. But to get the listings, you almost have to have the years of experience behind you, unless you just know a family member, because you have to know which contract to take. Um, you just have to know it differently when you're on the listing side. It's just a little bit different process. So it is super tough to be a buyer's agent right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, from the listing side, have you noticed any sort of like uptick in inventory, or have you noticed that things have kind of been remaining how they have been
No,
for the past year or so?
no. I have noticed an uptick actually for the last, I'd say at least 30 days. I mean, they still go really fast, but in
Mm.
at least in the last 30 days, I really feel like I have seen an uptick. And then, I have 3 or 4 listings coming up, and then they'll go immediately. It's kind of like the greyhound chasing the carrot or rabbit or whatever he chases out there. You just do it, and you're like, and it's been 20, 21 months of this, so everyone's exhausted, but
Yeah.
we don't know what's going to come, and so you kind of have to work it while you're able to.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I just speaking a little bit from experience, my girlfriend and I were just looking for a place to rent. We finally got one, thank goodness.
Good for you.
But
That's hard too.
thank you. Yeah, yeah. So I think I talked to Mike a little bit about it, and this is something that was new to me. I didn't know this prior to this search, but apparently the rental market kind of mirrors,
Yes,
the retail market.
right.
So it was just bonkers. I mean, inventory was low. Obviously, rent is reaching a ridiculous high. They say Tampa is one of the areas that's having like the fastest rise in rent or something like that. The reason I bring it up is because while we were doing our search, we went to see an apartment complex at one point, and I was talking to the leasing agent, and she said she's seen quite a few individuals who were looking to buy a home, looking to mortgage
Yeah.
a home, and just weren't able to. Maybe they were coming from out of state, or they had already sold their old home, and because they couldn't find a home to buy, they just ended up renting. So I don't know if maybe you'd seen anything like that,
And
or
yes, 100%. I've seen them rent Airbnbs, and then I've seen them in hotels. So they're willing to pay more than the contract price because they're spending it in a rental or a hotel or an Airbnb anyway. Absolutely. What you just said is 100% correct. And the leases I've heard are now, they're holding you to 14 months, not 12, and at an
Mhm.
astronomical rate. It's a huge frenzy. And I don't know whether it's Tampa just because we're Champa Bay now. We have all you know what I mean? I don't know what the draw is.
Tom Brady.
Right. And he is, yeah, easy on the eyes. But anyway, I got to tell you, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Each market is different. And this is just something I've never seen. It's back to like 2006, but worse.
Yeah.
But even, I mean, you can make a lot of money, but you just got to stay healthy because you're not going to get a lot of rest in here. But it is a super good market. I would think it'd be tough to be a new agent in this because I just think it's a tough market for them.
Yeah,
For
absolutely.
me too. I mean, it's tough for my buyers. I'm having a hard time too.
I've heard several stories of just newer agents, actually even older agents who maybe have had their license for a while, or in the case of the new agents, just got their license, and they've just become so discouraged by the market conditions. They're like, because when you come in as an agent, you usually end up on the buyer's agent side, right?
Right.
And
Exactly.
they're having the harder go of it right now.
Yeah.
So it's like, why did I even do this in the
Yes.
first place? And they end up finding something else. So
Yeah, well, then I do think that that's helpful for those of us who have, stayed the course from 2006 era on through. Then short sales, and there were bank owns, and then there were regular sales, and now there's crazy sales. And I think that once they have their license, maybe we have a little more respect that they understand it's harder than it looks because we don't make it look very hard, for sure. If I go play tennis or golf and people think I don't work, but I'm working like till 8 o'clock at night. So I'm just taking a lunch break here to do something else, but they
Right.
don't see it like that. And a lot of people can't see what you do because a lot of it's on the computer, a lot of it's footwork, but maybe not in front of them. So they think you're not working, but and all the time you are always on your phone or computer.
Yeah, you're on call basically
You're on
24
call.
hours.
Yeah.
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 Back to the point of your book, it's not as
Yeah.
easy as it looks, right?
Look, that's right.
So I know you have an appointment in a little while here, and so I'm going to kind of abridge the next couple of questions that I have. But the one thing I did want to make sure I got the chance to talk to you about, and you actually did touch on this sort of, is about the importance of, as an agent, cultivating your sphere of influence. Obviously, you've been in the game 15 plus years, so you've had the opportunity to build that over time. For the newer agents out there, or maybe those that just don't have a considerable sphere built out, I was wondering if you had any advice or any pointers.
Yeah. Well, so for the new agents that haven't sold anything yet, okay. So if they're going to do any kind of, you lead with revenue. So if you really don't have a lot of money to advertise, probably don't do it because it's passive advertising, right? But if you can, like if you're going to do, like maybe do send out a newsletter or something, you have to be consistent in what you say and what you do. People have to see you as serious because if they're going to pay you, 8, 10, 20, $30,000 to sell their house, they don't want to see a fly by night person. They want to see somebody that's very consistent, that knows the market, has a lot of education. So if you're not buying and selling a lot, get all the real estate education that you can right now. You can answer every question with confidence so that they go, hey, Ann, what do you think about the market? Did you see that house on the market? You have to know your stuff every day because there's the in the grocery store. So be consistent and follow up. Be really good with your follow up.
That makes sense. So to your point, be dedicated, and that made me think of a quote that I saw semi recently, and I don't know who this is from, but it had to do with marketing, and I guess this could apply to being an agent as well. And it said something like, the consumer has to see your logo or your slogan like 50 something times before they start to put you at the forefront of their brain as far as, whatever the product is that you're advertising. So I think the same probably holds true as an agent. You want to keep putting yourself out there, develop a reputation just by being a good agent, like you said, knowing your stuff. So I think that applies in that sense. So perhaps it's just a matter of repetition, like putting in the hours, the 10,000 hours, as they say.
Yeah, put in the hours, and if whatever you love to do, mine sports. People see me and they go, and golf or tennis, and they go, hey, da da da, and then so they see me, but they know what I do for work, and I think that's important too. Just exactly what you said, and be dedicated.
Mm-hmm. You want to think Ann Carlson, realtor, not Ann Carlson, pro tennis player.
Oh, you're so fun.
Or both, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what you would prefer. So.
No, that's fine.
Yeah. So a couple more questions for you, Ann, and then I'll let you go. These ones are the kind of fun ones I usually save for the end. So if you could speak to a younger version of Ann Carlson, think maybe pre-flight attendant days or even post-flight attendant days. What would you do differently? What would you say to younger Ann?
Wow. I would say I wish I would have started earlier. I wish I would have known what I wanted to do and started earlier. And wow, that's such a hard question.
I know.
Just be more in the moment, I guess. Not so. I was a little more wild.
I think that's a solid answer. Actually, I did one of these episodes with Christian a couple of weeks ago, and she said the same thing. She said, if I could talk to younger Chris, I would just say, why hesitate on starting the real estate career? Just do it. I think she had some hangups like with her parents, and she had just gotten out of school. She wasn't sure what she was going to do.
Sure. And don't waste your time. Don't let people waste your time.
Exactly.
That's probably the big thing is people will waste your time, and no one's really loyal. So don't
worry about yourself, right?
Yeah. Take care of yourself first. Yeah. So on the airplane, we would say, put your mask on yourself before your child so you can help them. So
that is a perfect analogy. That is so perfect. Yeah, and a couple more years experience in anything I think can't hurt. So I think that's good advice to younger Ann. Now, on a same kind of note there, if you hadn't chosen real estate as your long-term career, what would you see yourself doing alternatively?
Oh, wow. That is really hard. I would love to be on the creative end of some corporation like a Google or an Amazon. I think that would be so awesome to be on the creative end of that. Where you could really just open your mind and work with other like-minded people. That would be a dream job.
I could see you doing that. You got the personality for it, Ann.
Thank you.
Now, my favorite one, the very last one, you kind of touched on this a little bit already, but if you could give a word of advice to brand new agents, or perhaps they're not brand new, but maybe they're just struggling in the current market, if you could give them one word of advice, what would you think that would be?
Consistency. Be consistent and
Be
always be
consistent.
truthful. If you
Sorry.
don't know the answer, just say, I don't know the answer. Let me find out.
Be
Yeah.
truthful, you said. I'm sorry.
Truthful and consistent would be my, sorry, that's 2 words. I guess I think probably truthful would be the first one. Sorry.
No, that's good. So you're saying, like, if you don't know the answer to something, don't be shy. Don't pretend like you know what you're talking about.
That's the worst. To fake it and then they find out you don't know what you're talking about and now you have to grovel. That's not a good feeling.
Hmm. And that'll damage the old reputation too, won't it?
They appreciate your honesty. Like they would rather you find the right answer than just spew something out. I do believe that.
Yeah, I found that to be true in any profession, really. I think don't
Yes.
they say fake it till you make it, but that only works in certain aspects. If you don't know what
That's
you're
right.
talking about, then
You're
you're setting yourself up for failure.
right, exactly. And then they go, well, don't ask Ann because she's way too honest. So I just know that I don't sugarcoat anything. And they know, like, I mean, I've told people I wouldn't buy this house. And so they know I'm not in it for the money. You cannot be in it for the money. You have to be in it for the right thing or you'll never be successful.
Yeah, that seems to be a recurring theme on these podcasts. A couple different
really?
agents have said that. Yeah, you can't just be in it for the money. Yes, you have the ability to be financially successful, but if you don't have the heart to do it, and if you aren't looking out for the best interests of your clients, then
they know. They read right through you.
I would think so. It's like, I mean, I used to work at a car dealership, and you basically have 2 different types of car salespeople, right? The ones that just want to get that commission check, and the ones that want you to have a car that works. And you can see the difference. You can tell in their mannerisms and how they speak to people,
And to have like, some 50 people know that you're not being truthful, word gets around pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So you're better off just being honest. Even if you lose somebody, you'll get somebody else for doing the right thing.
Especially in the digital age where, they can hop on Google or Zillow and be like, this person lied to me about this and that, and they don't know what they're doing.
You don't want that.
Yeah,
you
and
don't want your reputation tarnished for sure.
That's burned into the internet forever. You'll never get rid of those kind of things, right?
Yeah.
Alrighty, Ann. Well, I really appreciate this. This was a great interview, and I know you got to head out of here, but again, I appreciate you making the time. So
you're the best. You're a good interviewer.
Thank you. No, you're the best.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Take care, Ann. All right, everyone. That was Ann Carlson. She's been in the game a long time. She knows what she's talking about. Actually had an experience recently with Ann. We did a segment for ABC News, The Morning Blend here in Tampa Bay. And she always has this thing where she gets nervous before she records, but once she starts, it's like all natural. So if you're looking for good advice on being an agent, or if you just need a good realtor you're looking to buy or sell, give Ann a call or check her out at the links below. I'm going to put her book link down in the description. You can read that. Like she said, it's a short read, great advice for new realtors, or even if you've been in the game for a long time, I think it's a solid read. As far as we go, the Real Estate Playbook, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're listening on Spotify, go ahead and follow us. You'll get notifications when the new episodes come out. I'm going to go ahead and put our social media links down in the description box as well. So go ahead and follow us. You'll see clips, teasers for new episodes, things like that. What else? Well, our website is live now. It is therealestateplaybook.com. I'm going to put that link down in the description as well. You can go and click on that. That'll give you all of our links in one page: social media, YouTube, Spotify, etc. And there's also a contact form on there. So if you're looking to be a guest on one of our episodes, you can fill that out and we'll get you on the show. That's it for me, and have a great one, everybody.